name is Bro Hongo Jr., and I'm going to be telling you why you should avoid alcohol. As someone who has experienced and witnessed what alcohol does to a person or people, I'm well assured to discuss this in detail. A relative of mine would often come to me with his problems about his father and his drinking problem. It was always the same story, really. He would say that he loved his father dearly and the man he was sober, but the second he would pick up the bottle, he would change and become a different person. He would become abusive, both physically and emotionally, just being a burden to his family as a whole, or even when out in public, and would often be rude to strangers and say or do unnecessary things in public. Currently, his father has walked out on his family and is MIA, has health issues from alcohol such as cirrhosis, and will most likely pass away due to these problems and his addiction with alcohol. That just goes to show how fatal slash addictive alcohol use can be to your body and mental health. Sure, you could argue and say, I don't go on the weekends and use it to celebrate, but even then, because alcohol delays your body's reaction time and coordination, you could have an accidental fall that could be fatal or be put in a position where your friend or you are behind the wheel. But eventually, you'll grow older and your life or circumstances might be tough, and instead of dealing with the pain with a positive outlet, you might use alcohol to numb yourself, and then pretty soon it may become routine, and you might end up in the same shoes as alcohol. The effect it has on your body is very detrimental to your health as a whole, and according to Guardian News and Media, alcohol can cause 7 forms of cancer. Even the people who drink low to moderately are at risk as well. Some of the cancers we are exposed to are the colon, liver, and esophagus. Your mental health is also affected. Alcohol has many mental health issues such as depression and anxiety. Alcohol can affect you academically. For example, American Alcohol and Drug Information Foundation states nearly 25% of college students reported missed classes, incomplete assignments, and poor grades caused by their drinking behaviors. And 33% of students lost at least 3 to 5 hours of productive time due to recovering from drinking. Many students justify their experiences because when you're at college, it's part of the culture, or you might be trying to fit in. Alcohol can cause your emotions to be enhanced, causing you to be very emotional or even aggressive. So a lot of times when alcohol is involved, whether it's at a party or a bar, when there's a lot of people in a small area, sometimes, for example, someone can be very drunk and could accidentally bump into someone, and depending on the person they bumped into, it can get physical. A couple months ago, I don't know if you guys heard, but one of my friends from high school, his name was Victor King. He was 21 when he was shot and killed. He lost his life over a dispute at the Elder Room, which is a bar located here in downtown Bismarck. So it's really unfortunate what alcohol-induced emotions can lead to. When the times are good, they're good, but when they're bad, it can be really bad. So one of the solutions, well, in my opinion, the best solution possible is probably to never indulge in it in the first place and stay away from it from the start. But if you're in a situation where you're trying to avoid it or quit, one of the call to actions is talk to someone you trust, change your perception on alcohol, because if you change the way you see a problem, you really don't have a problem anymore. Rehab centers and surrounding yourself with people who will uplift you and support you. Here's a short video.
Every year, harmful use of alcohol is responsible for 3 million deaths and 5% of the global health burden, from road traffic injuries to violence, abuse and neglect, to diseases like liver cirrhosis, heart disease, cancers and tuberculosis, to mental health issues like alcohol dependence, depression and suicides. But what can we do about it? Well, the WHO's global strategy, endorsed by member states, aims to reduce the harmful use of alcohol. Unfortunately, implementation of the strategy is uneven. Meet Nina. In her country, there are very few government regulations on drinking. Nina is out with a friend. The alcohol is cheaper than bottled water, and the bar stays open till 4 a.m., so people are encouraged to stay out late and drink more. Nina's friend falls and hurts herself. Now meet Amia. Her government has introduced pricing measures on alcohol, and there's a mandatory closing time for bars, which means Amia and her friend leave for home at midnight. Amia decides to take a taxi, because the police in her country are very active in enforcing drink driving countermeasures. But in Nina's country, the police don't enforce drink driving laws at all, so she decides to drive her friend home. She is way over the limit and crashes her car. Nina and her friend are taken to hospital, using up the time and resources of busy nurses and doctors. Nina's injuries aren't serious, and once they're patched up, she is released immediately. But when she gets home, she is told that her friend died in the car crash. In Amia's country, if people display signs of problems with drinking alcohol, they are offered help early. Amia's country also has restrictions on alcohol advertising, unlike Nina's, where young people can be persuaded to drink to excess by cleverly targeted commercials. If governments implement the WHO's Safer initiative, they can change people's relationship with alcohol, making our world less like Nina's and more like Amia's. Be safer. Strengthening restrictions on alcohol availability. Advancing and enforcing drink driving countermeasures. Facilitating access to screening, brief interventions and treatment. Enforcing restrictions on alcohol advertising. Raising prices on alcohol through taxes and pricing policies. Safer is a WHO-led initiative that follows the global strategy to make our world safer from alcohol-related harm.